You have to see the world for yourself to appreciate how beautiful it is.
We cannot just rely on the ocean's self-cleaning ability. We cannot just rely on the ocean's self-cleaning ability. We cannot just rely on the ocean's self-cleaning ability.
Алло. Ну, вроде работает.
We
Так.
cannot just rely on the ocean's self-cleaning ability.
Вот. Привет, Сактот. Я просто немного по сюжету играл. Я вот что-то даже не знаю, то ли дальше сюжет продолжать. Ну, блин, сюжет это скучно. Там очень много диалогов, очень много читать надо. И мне кажется, это скучно. Наверное, лучше уж продолжить просто бегать по карте и закрывать ее. Тут у меня 68, тут 40%. Сюжет это прям, ну, реально долго. Да, ничего такого. Так, а это у нас... Это где-то под землей. Как бы за что извиняться-то? Нормально все? Ну или ладно, давайте пока продолжу я сюжет, а там, если мне прям сильно надоест, можно будет просто побегать там по миру. Ну, по крайней мере, на данный
I came
момент...
here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I
М.
hope the food here will be to your taste.
На данный момент в сюжете Гидра Архонта показывают прям вообще как-то не в лучшем свете, как какую-то недалекую особу, которая, ну, не очень-то далекая, так скажем. То есть, ну, не знаю, вот у меня первое же впечатление, это вот, ну, это типичная Фишель. И все.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while. Paimon's getting excited already.
In that case, I'll go order for us first. Please wait here a moment.
А ее голос очень похож на голос Моны. И когда она выйдет, ну это по-любому тоже будет игровой персонаж, нужно будет посмотреть, кто озвучивает. Скорее всего, это один и тот же голос. Ну прям очень похоже.
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
Ну да, прям вот очень похоже.
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table.
You sure have your own way of doing things. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did just win that case after all.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more.
У него геоглаз бога, да?
Speaking of
На плече
cases,
висит на левом.
do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this has all happened?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't...
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be
Right? Yet it was because this
Ну
was
да,
such a preposterous notion
Геовижн висит.
that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking. We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability, it's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times in order to produce a breakthrough. Which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exists. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist. To seep into the cracks where filth falls through. Where their watch fails them. That's the kind of...
Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business, right? Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the... I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that you missed your chance today.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas.
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play, don't you
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go...
Alright, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then, wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions.
Спрятаться под кроватью Гидроархонта, затем разбудить ее глубокой ночью и потребовать ответов. И не давать уснуть, пока она не ответит на все вопросы. Да, план прям вообще надежный, я даже не знаю, что может быть надежнее.
I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
That might work, but that's not really the problem.
Valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep. All right, no more joking around. Perhaps you could... Oh, you did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make... Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron is hot.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next...
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky.
Is that so? Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the treat, Navia. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Can't you see Paimon's barely an inch off the ground?
Итак, сантиметры от земли.
Okay. As for expenses this month...
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. Nothing, nothing.
А,
It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
мало того, что голос очень похож на Мону, скорее всего, один и тот же, так еще и проблема персонажа одинаковая. У нее тоже нет денег.
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye, Navia!
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your requests the highest. In any case, I wish you smooth.
See ya!
Так. Мы по сюжету вышли отсюда, пришли сюда, чтобы покушать, и опять возвращаемся назад. Ну, это очень далеко. Можно было ресторанчик поставить где-нибудь здесь. М, Автор легких романов — это явно из Надзумы.
It needs a more romantic touch.
Барт из Манштата и автор романов из Надзумы стоят, о чем-то беседуют.
There aren't many people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? That's kind of spooky.
Vache? Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? There might be something nasty in the water. Huh? Hang on. I'm Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry. I fear I do not know.
Короче, это океанит, растворившийся в воде.
My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I am but... I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water, and then all grew dim. I also remember going to many places. I loved adventure, loved exploring places of peril. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew how dearly he loved me, and I also loved him equally as much. But now, we can no longer go back. The pain of such parting. I never knew how heavy... No! Our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new... The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the only thing I still... still. Perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness, I saw Vacher above the surface. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Indeed. Is that what you call it? Dissolving? If anything, I consider it a form of release. It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace, like the water's still surface. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long in a world of endless want and anxiety. I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence. Remember,
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
Сразу несколько вопросов. Почему она в руках держит меч Наэль? Ну, как бы он типа не меч Наэль, да, не совсем ей принадлежит, но в любом случае белая тень, почему у нее в руках? У них одинаковые сережки, у той был пистолет, то есть когда ее ведут, у нас будет первый персонаж с пистолетом, у нас есть Мика, который стреляет из арбалета, она будет стрелять из пистолета. Так, еще немножечко нам добавят пулемета и РПГ. То есть у них сережки одинаковые, значит, они все-таки чем-то связаны. Может быть, какие-то подруги, сестры тоже. Все вот это.
Followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same, were he alive today.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, Demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional...
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a...
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act
I will continue investigating, no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clarand. But, if you get any ideas, tell me first.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
Если она такая сильная охранница, она охраняет Архонта, какое она отношение имеет к ней? Или она какое имеет отношение к Архонту?
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Я их по именам, конечно же, еще не запомнил.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being sincere with you. If we tried, we could
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, I hope that every meal we have together shall be a victory feast. As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined these.
All right.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You should...
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow?
Yes, all thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that...
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said. That the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I recall, had also been a bit off.
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So, if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Привет, Денис.
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the ball.
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger, and hurried here as quickly as...
What? Why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name. Ugh, now we're...
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Ну, вот эта вот интонация была прям очень сильно на Мону похожа. Прям очень сильно. Ну, один и тот же актер озвучивает. Тут прям 100%.
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. He said that he heard that voice. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too. But it was real faint. Does this situation have to do with the primordials? Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not from Fontaine?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? While you were out cold?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that is important. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been... Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. We will continue to investigate.
Это Виктория.
Oh, you mean you'll help us investigate?
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. That means we're still partners, right?
Нам тут сказали, что Арлекина, она как бы тоже родилась в Фонтейне.
And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook so easily, are you, Traveler?
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? I'll arrange accommodations for you. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as
Ты же у нас
partners.
работаешь по сменам, а это я как бы читаю, типа, наконец-то 2 дня выходных, типа, выходные же вот сегодня заканчиваются, у тебя 2 дня выходных, как так? Ну вот, опять же, да, нам добавят нового персонажа, да, вот ее, у нее Гео Глаз Бога, у нее в руках двуручник. Ну вот, ну что она будет делать? Вот просто вот именно с геймплейной точки зрения, как они смогут ее забалансить, чтобы она была играбельной. Ну, у меня вот, ну, не хватает фантазии. Если мы вспомним ту же самую, там, Юнцзинь, она вроде бы как универсальная, да, но тем не менее, без нее точно так же все другие персонажи могут обойтись. Если вспомним Гору, то он вообще только в геопачке играет. Ну как можно забалансить ее, чтобы она была прям, ну, играбельной? Вот они сделали именно саму по себе геостихию, ну, бесполезной относительно других. Ну, взяли бы да как-нибудь переработали, не знаю, там, чтобы она могла дамажить сквозь любые щиты, там, хоть что-то, чтобы вот эти кристальчики взрывались, а не просто накладывали на тебя бесполезный щит. Ну, как-то бы ее переделали, чтобы вот, ну, действительно вот такого не возникало. Персонаж вроде бы выйдет, да, вот она, но кто ей будет играть?
Don't worry, you two. With us around,
Она
our
еще
base is
не
definitely
появилась, а
secure.
мне уже за нее обидно. Ну, как можно подкрутить статы? Вот если вспомнить того же самого, да, Аратаки. Ну, блин, ну, он очень много урона вносит. Нереально много, у него быстрые атаки. Но как только ты убираешь из его пачки Гора, особенно если Гора там не C6, то все, он теряет очень много урона. Он прям очень сильно зависимый от своего собственного урона. Ты ему бафа не даешь, он никакого урона не вносит. И играть он может только в геопачке. А больше нигде, потому что с другими стихиями он никак не взаимодействует. Ни с какими. И очень сильно ограниченный персонаж получился. Он, конечно, сильный, да, но очень сильно ограниченный. Как только одно условие не совпадает, все, он просто становится неиграбельным. И в руках она держала меч Наэль. Ну, вот эта белая тень. Ну, хотя бы могли ей дать, ну, не знаю, какой-нибудь именно крафтовый двуручник из Фонтейна. Почему именно меч Наэль? И вот к вопросу, да, если бы собаки носили штаны, как бы они их носили? В хвосте это что, у него трость? Бусика? А, бусика это вот этот. Забродивший сок. Вот нам надо. А это можно только по десятке купить. Все, мне больше ничего не нужно. Это чисто персонаж, чтобы ей сигнал атаки дать, да? А он там сундук стоял в углу.
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus.
Very good. But
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Ну и у нас по сюжету есть какая-то вода, которая полностью растворяет жителей Фонтейна. И есть пророчество, что эта вода заполнит все, и все жители Фонтейна испарятся, но растворятся, и останется только Гидроархонт. Есть какая-то тайная организация, которая хочет, ну, чтобы это случилось. И при этом это не Фатуи, потому что сама Фатуи прибыла сюда, Орликина, для того, чтобы это предотвратить внезапно. Не для того, чтобы какую-то страну уничтожить, а для того, чтобы ее спасти. Вот этот поворот.
thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue
Вот.
Find anything you like?
Ну, дальше по-любому ничего нету. Но вот он, весь город, как бы, конечно, он сделан очень классно, но он слишком вертикальный. И внезапно для того, чтобы подняться с одного уровня на другой, нет никакой лестницы, есть только лифт. И, ну, как бы жители этого города пользуются лифтом, чтобы просто перейти с одного уровня на другой. И, ну, блин, это же, наверное, неудобно. Конечно, город-то супер технологичный и все вот это, но... А если лифт сломается, все, они же тут останутся, и в аккурат заливай вовнутрь стен воду, и они все утонут и растворятся. Так, это вход в какие-то канализации. Куда-то она нас сомнительно ведет. Ну, типично этот Заун и Пилтовер. Сейчас Твич откуда-нибудь набросится. Ну, Твич это персонаж из Лиги Легенд. А тут и дети живут. Ну и да, она получается вот это вот, как ее там зовут-то? Я забыл, как эту девушку зовут, за которой мы идем. Типа, старается выглядеть очень богато, на самом деле живет где-то в трущобах, в канализациях под городом, и у нее денег-то особо нету. Ну, музыка тут тоже играет. А я еще говорил, типа, почему мелюзины живут под землей?
I imagining things? Or is all this standing making you
She's underground. It's way more fun than I thought.
Черепаха с татухой. С двумя татухами. Это черепаха из Сумеру. Что она тут делает? Это какой-то местный босс, по-любому. Вот куда эта лестница ведет? Вот зачем? Да, и тут вот тоже лесенка. А, вон он, сундук стоит наверху. Босс качалки, ну, не знаю, наверное, не качалки, но чего-то он явно босс, потому что просто так татухи на черепаху никто бы набивать не стал.
Don't blink.
Ой.
That's everything. On to the next.
Ну все, до потолка добрались, тут больше, наверное, ничего нету. Но это вот именно на контрасте с Baldur's Gate'ом, третьим, да, вот, который вышел недавно. Вот там миры тоже маленькие такие, но они очень сильно забитые. То есть там всякий, каждый вот этот закуток, он не сделан просто так, он сделан для чего-то. Там есть некоторые места, которые ты в них заходишь, там ничего нет. Кажется, что, блин, что это такое, зачем? Но на самом деле ты либо по сюжету не дошел до этого места, либо, ну, какой-то квест пропустил, какой-то предмет. То есть там именно все сделано для чего-то. Здесь же вот есть, да, встречаются такие места, которые, ну, зачем? Ну, просто поставили сундук, и все, и в нем больше ничего нет. Ну и тут вон этот. Это якорь и розочки. И у черепахи были такие же татухи. Якорь и розочки. А это стол для армрестлинга. И по-любому черепаха тут всех побеждает. Поэтому у нее татухи. Продай мне что-нибудь. Он не хочет мне ничего продавать. Спина ди Расулы их зовут.
So, this is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people...
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago.
Your father... He was the previous boss's spina...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partner, my father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, He was accused of murdering his own friend, but he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must... if only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful.
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Но оно как бы сразу видно, что в Пантене прям очень честная система наказания, да, типа, кто громче крикнул, кто первый крикнул, тот и прав, и все.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when he would...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something
Ну и с моральной
exclusive to
точки
people
зрения,
from
да, типа, все в
Fontaine, really.
Пантене тоже такие же,
Everyone's
типа,
like that.
им-то как бы плевать, что решает судьба человека, они просто, ну, виноват, значит, виноват, не виноват, ну, не виноват. Посидели в ладошки, похлопали в театре и все. А потом их эмоции собираются в энергию, и эта энергия питает целый город. Ну, допустим, ну, какая-то фигня.
People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused...
There is one other thing. Master Callus is a...
Oh, her? Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that... Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and...
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she will not stop either. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how there was only ever one choice...
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this yet.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force your...
Afterward, Miss Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards the end. Thanks. you two should go and rest. This was quite a day after all.
Yeah. Paimon's beat.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
А у нас же в Старрейле была подобная ситуация, да, когда сверху один город, а внизу другой город. Как это все называлось? Я что-то забыл. Я забыл, как там города назывались, но принцип тот же. Но больше на Заун похоже.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost
Но у них тут
Tuesday.
очень много книжек.
Huh? Navia? Where did the other two go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vache.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking forever.
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere.
А если спросить у Нахиды, она свяжется с Ирминсулем, это возможно про него узнать? Ну так, чисто в рамках сюжета. Вот. Ну, допустим, мы сюда приходим, у нас есть какая-то зацепка, да, это чисто вот просто имя. Тревелер возвращается в Сумеру, находит Нахиду, хотя, скорее всего, Нахида его сама найдет. Спрашивает и узнают, кто это такой.
I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this does
That mean we're too...
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanid you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we? Aren't you coming over?
No, it's nothing. Let's go.
Ну, я, наверное, отсюда лучше телепортнусь, потому что идти пешком это прям далеко.
The palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Нана. То есть она здесь не просто так, это у нас хранитель правопорядка, то есть вот такой же жандарм. И некоторые мелюзины вот так подрабатывают на разных работах. То есть, если с ними разговаривать, они там какую-то историю рассказывают. Где-то вот внизу стоит такой же мелюзин, и она переживает на тему того, что вот она тут работает, ей вся ее зарплата уходит на то, чтобы просто снимать квартиру, и при этом в квартире она толком ничем пользоваться не может, потому что она маленькая. То есть подоконники высокие, стулья высокие, все высокое. Она такая маленькая, ей очень сильно неудобно. Помощник кардинала. А как в Д'Артаньяне кардинала звали? С обороной. Нифига себе. Фонтейн показать? Ну, как я тебе вот тут покажу? Вот тут камерой нельзя отдалить и нормально показать, да? То есть вот у нас добавили маленький кусочек. Ну, на самом деле у нас тут один островок, другой островок. Очень много его под водой скрыто. То есть прям под водой ты тоже плаваешь, там очень много всего. Ну, прям времени уходит на то, чтобы все обследовать под водой, тоже много. Ну и сам город, который, ну, он, конечно, большой, но его нельзя именно прям показать сразу. Потому что у нас нельзя камеру отдалить. И нету никакого... Ну, тут есть как бы транспорты, которые летают. Ну, такие аэростаты. Но они не облетают вокруг, по крайней мере, я его не нашел. Он мне попался. Это исследовательский институт. Но до него тоже там пока добраться нельзя. Он там за картой. Ну, наверное, в следующих обновлениях он добавится. Но выглядит максимально как-то странно.
I have to keep an eye on the deployment of guards at all times.
Ну, тут прям все здания огромные. Если с Манштатом не сравнить.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters. Huh. This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that proves that Nervalet's files...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
Принципиальные мелизины.
They've got great discipline, too.
Yep, Paimon can tell. If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave if you don't have a reason.
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Еще чуток. Ну, еще 2 года подождешь, так ну да, точно релизница.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorney.
We're here today to report and archive some information
Это
on the
маленькие
follow-up
крылышки у
case.
них, что ли? Или что это? Это плавники. Что это такое?
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Обманула, короче.
Thanks so much.
Ну да, еще... Я вот даже после обновления не посмотрел, сколько теперь весит Геншин. Но там что-то какие-то цифры совсем уже близкие к Ведьмаку, наверное.
Please come in.
А еще чтобы телефон не перегрелся, пока будет это все качать.
We only lied to get in because we didn't know any other way.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not mad at...
We're looking for a man called Vache. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the...
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vache has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some— No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared— If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So many questions he still owes me answers to. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Какую сигну ей нарисуют, но если она будет четырехзвездочным персонажем, то никакую. На данный момент она в руках белую тень
Are
держит.
you okay?
I'm fine. Rain. It's raining.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials today.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crimes? That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait. You don't mean...
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? And then got washed away with the rain? Yeah! And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities!
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're completely right. How did I not connect the dots earlier? All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time!
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself, like... Great, let's go then.
The sun is out. Our work's done for the day. Shall we take a stroll?
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually my father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally... A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main base. Our...
А на карте это как помечено? Деревня Пусан. Ну да, корабль построили просто потому что. Но почему именно здесь? Потому что их тут нельзя найти. Да все, типа скрытая конспирация. Ой.
Melus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partner. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You still remember, right, Melus? On that night...
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Что-то про это говорили, что он как-то делается из воды вот этой. Ну, короче, как наркота какая-то.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety, while lacking energy to do anything. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse, and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the rest of the operation.
Ну и опять же у нас вот эта вот ситуация, да? За этим не стоят фатуи, потому что фатуи сюда прибыли для того, чтобы с этим всем тоже разобраться. Бездне, ну имеется в виду всеми вот этим вот нашей сестре и прочее, да, именно стороне бездны это тоже неинтересно. Кто за этим всем стоит? Ну, то есть какая-то третья сторона, которую мы не знаем, или это уже четвертая, да, то есть это не Архонт, это не Фатуи, это не бездна, это кто-то еще.
Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able... The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques.
Huh? How did that happen?
Ну, было-то 2
Weren't they on
выстрела,
the same side?
да? Она сказала 2 выстрела.
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired. You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out. I'm finally headed toward...
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with 0 warning. I think this third person is probably... On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice.
Ну и тут маленькая деталь, да, сколько нужно этой воды вылить на жителя Фонтейна, чтобы он растворился. То есть у нас вот этот на суде, как его там звали? Ну, короче, жандарм один растворился полностью. Сколько вот там водички было? Из пробирки на него полили? Ну, то есть, получается, если она будет слишком неуместной, в нее просто кинут флакончик с водой, она просто растворится и все.
Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself.
Нет, Селестия, скорее всего, это просто как... я даже не знаю. Замок Верховного Правителя, который уже давным-давно умер, и там остались все вот эти частички власти, богатства и все вот это. То есть Селестия, скорее всего, уже полностью мертвый город, и там никого нет. Она не может сюда вмешиваться, и там, скорее всего, никого нет. Ну, тут как бы непонятно, как это работает. Тут, скорее всего, ну, то есть есть просто вода, есть жители Фонтейна, она на них попадает, они растворяются, при этом есть еще и пророчество. Откуда оно взялось? Откуда берется эта вода? То есть даже вода в Фонтейне, она все прибывает и прибывает. Откуда? Сколько нужно растворить концентрации вот этой воды в воде вот этого Фонтейна, чтобы люди начали растворяться при контакте с ней? В конце концов, все же ведь тут, они и готовят на еде, они и пьют, ой, на еде, на воде, они и пьют эту воду. То есть им достаточно просто как бы налить достаточное количество воды в резервуар с водой, которым пользуется город, и все это растворится.
Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark.
Опять же, как это работает, мы не знаем.
What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end?
Чем таким связаны именно жители Фонтейна, что ну, эта вода работает только на них, а на других не работает. При этом, ладно, если бы это не работало только на Тревелера, ну, понятное дело, да, он прибыл там из другого мира, бла-бла-бла, но это не работает на жителей того же самого Манштата, допустим. Нам прям четко показали, что это работает только на жителей Фонтейна, и все. Что будет, если облить этой водой обладателя глаза бога? Что будет, если облить этой водой самого Архонта, но как как это слово, да, в пророчестве сказано, что Архонт останется в одиночестве плакать, значит, на Архонта это не подействует. Ну и, кстати, может быть, у нас Гидра Архонта ведет себя именно вот так, да, как, ну, ее поведение объясняется вот этим же пророчеством и тем, что она что-то знает. Ну и как Фишель пытается спрятаться и вести себя глупо.
Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has changed. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaningless? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and...
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live. And the serial disappearances case caused him great. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told, but as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a... If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer, I'm sure he'd be extremely...
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able... Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Huh. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared?
It's the location where Synth is produced. Essentially, it's the enemy's headquarters. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take several things into consideration.
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storm?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation for decades. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside. nor what people we may be able to capture. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war. The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to full retaliation.
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
А где второй ее вот этот вот приспешник, который был в очках, весь такой крутой? Он типа тоже предатель, да? По-любому. Куда он делся?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been
И оно
infiltrated.
всегда в диалогах именно он разговаривает, а тот там что-то молчал, что-то там АБ сказал и все.
Huh. That's true. Seems my father really had no choice. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will.
Ну и Гидра-Архонт как правитель абсолютно не состоялась. Она по-любому, если бы занималась какими-нибудь, ну не знаю, полезными делами, она бы об этом знала, и она бы смогла им противостоять. Ну, вот этой организации. Но, тем не менее, она просто ходит на вот этот театр, да, смотрит оперу, хлопает в ладоши, ест печеньки и больше ничем не занимается. А чисто живет на лаврах, что вот все люди ее любят, потому что она Гидра-Архонт. Но опять же, да, откуда берется эта любовь? Почему все люди в Фонтейне так ее сильно любят? За что? Если вспомнить какой-нибудь, я не знаю, там... Да, и любой другой регион, да, там были хоть какие-то причины у населения. Здесь, по крайней мере, пока что, ну, абсолютно непонятно, за что люди Фонтейна любят Гидра-Архонта. Тем более так.
I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigations, and waiting for the right time to come.
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you discovered anything new in the past?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to is that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula. When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must... After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the The first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around, with a lot of business connections in the city.
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with plenty of support. It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to...
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the... Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could...
I see. These are all people who I can... To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those...
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience...
Of course. And thank you, Malus. you've provided.
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my... And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit.
Aw, thank you so much, Melus.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once and for all.
Но я почему-то подумал именно на второго вот этого компаньона, который был в шляпе и в очках. Мне почему-то показалось, что именно он
Please excuse me and enjoy your
предатель.
conversation at your leisure.
Thank you for arranging everything for...
Excuse me, miss. Do you need anything from us?
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened, I didn't know how I was supposed to face the two of you.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rusula sent us a lot of mora and support. I understood your guilt and apologized.
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with...
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you. Because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a I know only the full truth could bring closure to you.
Ну, значит, она предательница.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe...
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
Это где?
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had always taken great care of us, but even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense. It is impossible.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy? Papa always wanted to be a good man, so why did he have to...
Well, things aren't always as they seem.
Yeah, Papa was a really good man. The best in the whole world.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword, he must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth. The current state of...
Thank you. I'm very grateful. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really...
You really think so? That's the first time any...
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Florent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in...
То есть тут можно куда-то занырнуть и
I'll
еще
get
уйти
myself
глубже,
together on the
что ли?
way. So please don't worry.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House? Someone got turned into water, right?
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside, and we found some clothes left at the scene. After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try to reopen his case. Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat that day. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callis was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands. All we could do was look back and...
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that explanation. Reason being, Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned. Do you think there was a third person there who was turned...
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun with him. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callis ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the... But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why... He didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine. Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eye?
About that, Malouse told me a thing or two. So, I think I can understand why he... I'll tell you everything, once the whole...
I understand. Then, I'll leave Mr. Cal... And if I may just say one more thing. The whole Callis the Unfaithful... Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callis. But it was Mr. Callis's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina, no matter what others might say. He'll always be the...
Don't worry. I will definitely... You and all our other comrades at the Spina...
Так, теперь нам нужно будет поговорить со всеми. 900 метров. А у нас же тут их было 3. Так, давайте занырнем вон туда, куда мы сможем уплыть. И вот в фонтейне, да, что я заметил, когда ты тут делаешь атаку в падении в воду, она не проваливается под воду. Если в любом другом регионе сделать так же, то персонаж под воду проваливается. Здесь нет, то есть она просто падает на поверхность, и на поверхности сразу же остается. А, ну да, я тут был. Да. Здесь были несколько фатуев и собака, которая вот она осталась, да. А фатуев больше нет. Но собака есть. А, это с жандармом нужно было встретиться. Ну хорошо.
Hey, Thierry, it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia? I've heard that you made quite the name for yourself at the Opera House.
Oh, so you've caught news of that already.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know. The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to Poisson because I had done something wrong.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Let's just say I enjoy the ambiance of... Callus did a fantastic job running the town, building Spina di Rasula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my way. It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends of yours?
Yes. These two are my partners. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father's may be related.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? I was also flabbergasted when I first heard of it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question. Do you have the...
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more evidence for your father.
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do is get rid of the mecha serial numbers and send them after me.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it a secret. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both. Now that you mention it, though, being in the synth business would definitely be
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you for the vote of confidence, Navia.
Ну да, вот это вот новая информация, и все много-много-много, и вот при этом не то чтобы нужно все обдумать, ее нужно все сначала запомнить. Вот.
Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best with your... I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so...
Но оно так сейчас и окажется, что все вот эти трое, на кого этот старик подумал, окажутся ни при чем, а виноватый во всем окажется вот этот чувак в шляпе и в очках. Я забыл, как его зовут. Ну, по-любому он. Так, а эта собака без штанов ходит. Это вот что такое? Что за бескультурщина? Просто без штанов ходит по городу. Ну. Так, а вон там, по-моему, сундук стоит, да? Вон там. Эй. Ну, город прикольный, но вот именно передвигаться только чисто по центральному лифту.
Hello, how may I help you?
Кальканья.
I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? Sure, I will let him know right away.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House. I'm sure you saw it.
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oh, you were at the opera house.
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery? I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Победить, говорит, Гидра Архонта на ее собственной территории. Ну, мне кажется, победить Фишель было бы значительно сложнее, чем Гидра Архонта.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation. Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans...
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what you're investigating?
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can sense that the other side has already begun to act.
Oh, and what makes you say that?
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the primordial sea.
If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to...
Oh, you're giving us too much credit.
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its funds to the last Mora to bring them to justice.
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into hiding. Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more. See if there are...
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need Mora. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes to clear his...
Марсель — это же прям какой-то город во Франции, да? Но Михаил же не могли этого не знать и назвали человек-город, короче. Надеюсь, когда они введут эту Снежную, там не будет какого-нибудь персонажа, которого будут звать, там, не знаю, там, Челябинск, к примеру. Ну, Багеточка тут есть, Марсель есть. Ну, реально введут Снежную, там будут персонажи, там, Чебурашка, Гена, Челябинск. Какие еще у нас есть города, помимо Москвы и Челябинска?
Purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find them out. Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to...
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of circumstance.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and—
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission, he'd be of no—
So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the order and seek protection from my father. Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory. Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well.
Не, ну оно вот так вот, если даже меня попросить там назвать какие-нибудь города России, да я же вообще никакие не знаю. Я Челябинск вспомнил чисто вот благодаря нашей Раше, и все. Сколько у нас там городов, какие они, где находятся, я вообще ничего не знаю.
It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was revealed.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite possible. But who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, but as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security, so he shouldn't have much—
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha army?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be able to dispatch— Thierry, you say? Huh. It is possible that he's figured out a way to convert the Gardamex for personal use, but I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha. I also don't think he'd be able to keep that kind of tamper—
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple— If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and how that happened.
Uncle Marcel? My father did really trust him. And they worked together on a large number of projects. And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. Still really hard for me to imagine, though. After all, Uncle Marcel— Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Who could it be?
Ну, вот это, наверное, самое сложное.
You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the most suspicious of them all.
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people turning into water thing when he narrowed it down to these three, did he?
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. When he laid out his case for the three, the rationale he gave me made a lot of sense as well. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us, and possesses— Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back to Uncle Marcel.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes, Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we don't have any other option. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in on our enemy.
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guards? Did something...
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left. We've got another trial on our hands.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials? What's so new?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
О, Тартали будут судить. Так он же специально это сказал. Типа, я хочу с кем-нибудь подраться. Мне сказали, что одна вот эта вот судья, которая дуэлянт на суде, очень сильная, поэтому он пошел что-нибудь набедокурил и сейчас просто хочет с ней подраться. Это, ну, это понятно.
Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to...
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to tell you the news right away. If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned investigation.
Right, because they'll think they've already found the culprit.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot harder then to clear Mr. Callus's...
I understand. Well, partner, what do you think? Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Just as expected of my Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention will be focused on Irenaeus, leaving his home. You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then, let's do this. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it back in time and...
We'll help you, just like you helped...
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
Вот этот.
I'm ready.
Malou, Silver, when did you two get here?
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might require... It's our hope that your confidence will be bolstered with the two of us by your side.
Thank you so much. Then, let's make haste for Aaron.
See you then! Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going. The location...
Так, ну, в общем, ладно, да, времени уже много. Поэтому, наверное, надо заканчивать. А то вот это все можно проходить бесконечно, и оно так и не закончится. И меня все вот эта вот рыбка смущает. Нужно будет туда дойти и посмотреть, что это такое. Ну и казалось бы, да, типа добавили всего лишь маленький кусочек, но на самом деле это уже какой? 3-й день, 4-й день я по нему бегаю, при этом, ну, немало. И, ну, он как бы не заканчивается, то есть там все еще очень много сюжета, очень много всяких вот это вот исследований и прочей этой штуки, то есть, несмотря на то, что кусочек прям реально маленький, ну, тут по сути всего лишь 2 области, да, одна область, вторая область, и тут достаточно много времени нужно провести, чтобы это все закрыть. Ну, кто-то, конечно же, это все закрыл за 2 дня, так я в свое время и Надзуму вот эти вот 3 острова закрывал полностью за 2 дня. Когда-то в свое время, когда я по 12 часов сидел, 12-14 часов я просидел за Геншином и закрыл это все за 2 дня полностью. Ну, сейчас уже не то время, поэтому я за 2 дня это, конечно же, не закрыл. Ну, ладно. Завтра. Ну и вообще на следующей неделе я не уверен, что я буду до выходных. Вот прям вообще не уверен. Скорее всего, где-нибудь в какую-нибудь пятницу или в субботу только встретимся, а все остальное время меня, скорее всего, не будет. Но на этом все. Всем спасибо, что пришли. Всем удачи, всем пока. Приятного аппетита и спокойной ночи. Я пошел.